Hello and welcome to the second video tutorial series Tableau Public. In the first video we learned how to download Tableau, how to bring in our first data set, how to join different tabs in a Excel worksheet, and now we're really ready to create our first visualization. So let's get straight into it. So let's click Sheet 1 down here. It just takes a little while to load. And basically we get brought into this view here. On the left hand side is all the data that we brought in. Up the top is the data source that we've used. As you get more advanced, you may start using multiple data sources, and different colors will denote the primary and secondary data sources that you're using. But here we've just got the one, so this is our primary data source. Tableau's kind of split the different columns based on where they came from or which tab they came from, and also based on category, based on information and data type. It's separated the columns into dimensions and measures for us. We can easily change these by just right-clicking and going convert to measure, for instance. We can also change the data types here as well. In the last video we didn't change year. We may as well do that now, so we'll change that to year. Then we can go back and have a look at what's happened here in the year column. But I'm just about to show you another way of doing it as well. So here you go, it's now changed to the first of the first. You can also just quite easily go back to your data. You can just hide this. Go here. Click on view data, and you can actually view all your data in a nice little sheet. I really like doing this because you can actually notice some glaring mistakes that you're going to have to fix up. Because we joined it, there's some duplication here that will fix up, which I'll show you how to do. Also notice something. Look here, we've got CO2 per capita. It's to 4 decimal places. That's probably a little much for a default, so we can change the defaults, and I'll show you how to do that as well. I really like changing the defaults before I start creating a visualization, because you can change them individually later, but it's better to change the default so when you pull something in, the value is just as you want it, because if you do it later you can easily forget. You can have inconsistencies across sheets. So why don't we first rename our sheet. Let's call it something useful. This is our CO2 data, so let's call it CO2 by country. You'll notice that the title changes up here as well. You can easily double click and edit it. I wouldn't worry about it too much. The title here is for your own use. I wouldn't show a client something on a sheet. I'd actually move it into a dashboard, create the titles using text boxes. So at this stage it's more for internal use. It is important to have a name that makes sense. It's quite typical that you'll have 30-40 sheets in a book like this, so if the names aren't useful you're going to forget. These were the duplicated fields, so we can just right click on them and go hide. I wouldn't worry too much if you hide something that you need later. You can always unhide them. So the way to do that is just right click in this white space, hit show hidden fields, and then your hidden fields come back up. You can right click and unhide them, but we don't need to see those right now. As I mentioned with defaults, you can see that these defaults, firstly this changes it to sum. Tableau likes the sum measures by default. Now I think for this kind of data, because we're across many years, I think an average is more appropriate. So you can just right click on it, default properties, aggregation, change that to an average. Do the same here with the per capita value, and it will just save you a lot of time later and stop mistakes. We'll also make this 2 decimal places as we spoke about before, so just quickly go number format, go number, custom type, there you go, 2 decimal places, perfect. Awesome, so now we're ready to build our first visualization. Let's drag country name into this area here, and look at that. So Tableau is pretty smart. It kind of figures out what sort of visualization you want based on the data types and what's best as what's into the view. So you can actually click show me, and you can click your own, but it's kind of given us that is the best practice based on what we've just dragged in. So I actually dragged in country name. Let's put country name into details, and it's automatically dragged the latitude and longitude that were generated by Tableau to the columns and row shelves as appropriate. Something else you'll notice is as you hover over a country, it's actually put the country name in the tooltips as well, which is pretty cool. If you wanted to add region to that, we could just drag region and put it into tooltips, and look at that. If you want to edit something, for instance, if you want to edit your tooltips, these are the variables that are in there. You can change the titles. You can, you might want to make your titles bold. You might want to change them, but yeah, that's completely up to you. As you start making bigger worksheets, these tooltips can get a bit crowded, so you may decide to add or remove things at your own leisure. Let's drag CO2 per capita into color and see what happens. There you go. So what it's done here is it's now calculated the average CO2 by country across the time period that we have, and colored them appropriately. Now, again, Tableau, it does set out all the defaults. It's really easy to use. But if you want to change it yourself, and as you become more advanced, you do want to start putting your own touch to things, you can easily select color. You can change, how opaque something is. The default was 80. We can put it to 79. That's fine. You can edit the colors that are used. So the palette is automatic here, so it decides itself. What it's really done is it's picked a color and it's created a continuous variable from the lowest to the highest value. If we don't like that, we can hit advanced. We can pick our starting point, our ending point, what we want the middle to be. We can also create steps, so it turns into more of a categorical kind of way of seeing it. What you might want to do with something like this is maybe go red, green, maybe make your smallest green and your biggest red, just hit reversed. But we won't do that here. But all those options are there for you as you wish. There's also year here. This is across all the years. If you bring it into filter, we'll pick years, go all, hit apply, okay. Right click on it and go show filter. On the right hand side you now have a filter. You can change the types quite easily. This section here, just play around with them, see what's appropriate for you. I think single value slider will do us just fine. You can slide, pick different years, and you can see it update accordingly. So that's really cool. I guess just while I'm here, because it's a map kind of thing, you can actually go up to the top here and hit map, map layers, and you can actually add or remove layers. There's actually quite detailed layers. You can add coastlines. Actually go all the way down to streets and counties as you zoom in, if you wish. Anyway, that's your first visualization that you've created. Congratulations. I'll see you guys in the next video.